Let's get right into it. Number 10. The restaurant menu panic. You know that moment when the waiter hands you a menu and your brain suddenly decides to clock out for the day? You've been to this restaurant dozens of times. You already know what you like. You already know what you're probably going to order. And yet your eyes scan through all 8 pages like you're preparing for a philosophy exam you didn't study for. It's not even real interest. Half the dishes you skim past are things you'd never order in your entire life. But you look anyway, because something in your brain whispers, what if today is the day you become a different person? A person who orders the quinoa salad, even though you don't even like quinoa. Scientists actually have a name for this weird brain freeze. They call it menu anxiety, and it's shockingly common. When confronted with too many options, your brain sort of short-circuits. Suddenly, you're questioning every possible outcome like it's a high-stakes life decision. If you order wrong, you're trapped for the next hour watching everyone else enjoy their food while you silently regret your entire existence. Or even worse, what if you finally commit to the salmon, and then Tony's steak shows up looking like it was personally blessed by the chef? You will never admit it out loud. But deep down, that tiny moment of food envy feels like betrayal by the universe itself. And yet after all that mental chaos, 80% of people end up ordering the exact same thing they always get. It's like spending an hour scrolling through Netflix, only to put on The Office again for the 15th rewatch because your brain is too tired to be adventurous. Restaurants actually design their menus around this predictable panic. They know exactly where your eyes go, first the top right corner, which is where they hide their most profitable items. There are even menu engineers whose entire job is to study how your confused brain behaves under pressure and design around it. They know that anything more than 7 options in a category melts your brain like soft butter. They know that fancy adjectives like oven-roasted, handcrafted, or drizzled with a balsamic reduction don't just make the dish sound better. They're there to anchor your anxious brain so it has at least something to hold on to. You think you're making a rational food decision, but in reality, you're being gently herded like a sheep with decision fatigue. Number 9. The hallway nod. Your brain goes into full tactical mode when you spot someone you kind of know walking toward you. Not a close friend. Not a stranger. Someone in the vague purgatory of familiarity. Maybe you worked with them once, or you mutually follow each other on Instagram but haven't spoken since 2019. The moment your eyes lock onto them, your brain starts running calculations like a NASA navigation computer. Distance, speed, level of familiarity, social hierarchy, potential conversational risk. You have half a second to determine when the appropriate acknowledgement moment will arrive. Too early and you commit the fatal greeting sin, the premature nod. Now you're trapped walking the remaining 20 feet with no further social tools available. You can't look at them again because you already used up your greeting. You can't stare at the floor because then you look guilty. Pulling out your phone is the universal sign for, I am now exiting this situation. But it's also painfully obvious to both of you that you're doing it as an escape. Too late with the greeting, and you risk appearing cold, indifferent, or like you were hoping to avoid them. Humans have even developed different nod dialects. The upward nod, subtle, short, confident, is reserved for people you're comfortable with. It's the silent, what's up? The downward nod is the polite acknowledgement for acquaintances. A quiet, hello, I see you. Let's not escalate this into a conversation. The choreography is nearly universal, from New York to Tokyo, and everyone instinctively knows the rules. You nod once, then you never make eye contact again. If you accidentally lock eyes a second time, social law requires that you now have a conversation neither of you wanted. Number 8. Walking away from the microwave early. There's something about being alone in your kitchen, staring at the microwave timer as it ticks down, that suddenly transforms you into an action movie protagonist. 3 seconds left. 2. 1. And you slam that door open like you're disarming an explosive device. Why do we all do this dramatic maneuver? Why can't we just let it beep? Because the beep is scientifically, intentionally, torturously annoying. Microwaves produce a beep right in the frequency range where human hearing is most sensitive, the same range as a baby's cry or a shrieking alarm. Our ancestors were wired to react instantly to these sounds because they usually signaled danger. Now that evolutionary reflex just makes us irritated at kitchen appliances. Some people even get anticipatory anxiety as the timer approaches 0. They begin hovering like a hawk at 10 seconds, debating the perfect intercept moment. Microwave manufacturers know people hate the beeping. They've conducted surveys. They've collected complaints. They know it triggers something primal in the human nervous system, and yet they keep it loud, on purpose, because they're afraid people will forget their food if the beep is too gentle. So here we are in the year 2025, with AI that can write poetry, translate languages, and generate quantum-sounding YouTube thumbnails, but microwaves still beep like angry robots from the 1960 seconds, and we all still swoop in at 1 second like kitchen ninjas avoiding an incoming explosion. Number 7. The clothes chair. Everyone has one. That one chair in your room that has not been sat on by a human being in 6 months because it has become a mountain of in-between clothes. Not dirty enough for laundry, not clean enough for the closet, just ambiguous enough to live in this purgatory zone. Scientists call this phenomenon task postponement, due to decision fatigue. After a long day of making responsible adult choices, your brain simply refuses to answer the question, does this shirt need washing? It is too much. It is the final straw. The brain waves the white flag and says, we'll deal with it tomorrow. And so the shirt lands on the chair. Decision fatigue is real. You can make important decisions at work all day long, but then someone casually asks, what do you want for dinner? And suddenly your brain crashes like an outdated operating system. The clothes chair has existed for centuries. Victorian novels even mention designated chairs for partially worn garments. Professional organizers, people whose job is literally organizing, also admit to having a clothes chair. It's the organizational equivalent of a dentist who eats candy. Everyone knows it's not ideal. Everyone does it anyway. Number 6. The phone call voice switch. You could be telling your friend a chaotic story about how you burned water trying to boil pasta. You're gesturing wildly. You're laughing. You're basically a cartoon character. Then your phone rings. You glance at the screen. You answer, and your voice instantly transforms into professional customer service representative. Suddenly you say, hello, this is Jessica speaking. Even though Jessica was not speaking like that 5 seconds ago, your friend looks at you like you just swapped personalities with an office manager. Scientists call this shift performance mode. When we answer a phone call, our brains automatically prepare for an interaction where we are being perceived. Even if it's your mom. Even if she has seen you cry, scream, and spill soup on yourself. The moment you hear a ringing phone, you slip into your most composed version of yourself. Your tone rises a couple of pitches. You start saying words like, absolutely, certainly, and indeed. Words that never appear in your everyday vocabulary. During work calls, the transformation becomes even more dramatic. You pull out phrases you haven't used since standardized test season. I'll touch base with you later. I'll circle back. Let's take this offline. We all hear ourselves doing it, but we pretend it's perfectly normal, like it's a secret society of phone call performers. Number 5. The birthday ritual. Imagine explaining birthday traditions to someone from another planet. You gather around a baked good that is literally on fire. Everyone stands around the flaming dessert and sings a strange, repetitive chant in perfect unison. The birthday person then leans forward and extinguishes the flames with their mouth air. Their breath, containing thousands of microscopic droplets, scatters across the cake, and everyone happily eats it. Humans are wild. The origins are even weirder. In medieval Germany, people believed that on your birthday, evil spirits were especially attracted to you. So they would gather around you, make noise, and light candles to scare the demons away. So yes, every modern birthday party is, at its core, an ancient demon protection ritual. The tradition of making a wish comes from ancient Greece, where people believed the rising smoke from a blown-out candle carried prayers directly to the gods. So, on top of demon protection, you're also performing a pagan smoke offering ceremony every year. The Happy Birthday song started as a simple classroom tune called Good Morning to All, written in 1893. It stayed copyrighted until 2015, which forced restaurants to invent bizarre, off-brand birthday songs to avoid paying royalties. So when your waiter awkwardly claps and chants a chaotic remix of Happy, Happy Birthday, that's copyright law in action. Number 4. The snooze button bargain. Your snooze button is emotionally manipulating you. Every time you hit snooze, your brain starts releasing chemicals that prepare you for deep sleep, thinking, oh good, we're sleeping again. But 9 minutes later, because the original gear system in 1950 seconds, alarm clocks couldn't do in even 10 minutes, you violently interrupt the process and jolt yourself awake again. Scientists call this sleep inertia, or as most people know it, morning zombie mode. Some people set their alarm early on purpose just so they can hit snooze multiple times. That's like ordering a pizza you don't want just so you can refuse it several times for the experience. Every snooze cycle tricks your brain into thinking it's beginning real sleep, only to yank it awake moments later. You're basically pranking yourself every morning. Number 3, proving to a robot you're not a robot. There you are, trying to buy concert tickets you've been waiting 6 months for. Your credit card is in hand, your adrenaline is pumping, and suddenly a robot pops up asking you to prove you're human. You click traffic lights, fire hydrants, and blurry crosswalks. Half the time, the pictures are so grainy you're not even sure they're from Earth. Here's the twist. Every time you do one of those tests, you're actually training artificial intelligence for free. The robots you're proving yourself to are becoming smarter because of your unpaid labor. And sometimes, the tests are so complicated that real humans fail them more often than bots. Meanwhile, modern CAPTCHA systems aren't even judging your answers anymore. They're analyzing your mouse movements, your hesitation, your micro-decisions. Too smooth and you're a robot. Too precise robot. Too fast robot. Too uncertain also robot. You actually have to perform flawed humanity to pass. Number 2. Terms and conditions. You downloaded a new app today, clicked I agree, and didn't read a single word of the terms. No judgment, nobody does. Some of these documents are longer than classic novels. Instagram's terms are longer than The Great Gatsby. Spotify's agreement is longer than Macbeth. PayPal's terms are longer than Hamlet. Studies show that if the average person tried to read every privacy policy they encountered in a year, it would take 76 working days, basically an entire season of your life spent reading legal jargon. Companies know you won't read any of it, which is why they slip in ridiculous things. In one experiment, 7,500 people agreed to give up their firstborn child in exchange for free Wi-Fi. GameStation once claimed ownership of customers' souls as an April Fool's joke, and 88% of users agreed without noticing. Many apps have clauses allowing them to share your data with unnamed third parties, which is corporate language for whoever pays us enough. And finally, number 1, the inner monologue. That voice in your head that never stops narrating, the one that comments on everything you do, criticizes your mistakes, replays embarrassing memories from years ago, and randomly sings jingles when you're trying to be serious. It's like having a hyperactive roommate living rent-free in your skull. What's wild is that not everyone has this. Some people think in images, sensations, or wordless concepts. A huge portion of the population has no constant inner narrator at all. No endless commentary. No rehearsing imaginary conversations. No random intrusive thoughts like, what if I scream in this quiet room? Just silence. For the rest of us, the inner monologue shapes every decision we make. It's both our advisor and our saboteur. It remembers every mistake we've ever made and loves bringing them up at 2 a.m. It tries to predict every outcome, every social interaction, every possible embarrassment. It's equal parts comedian, critic, philosopher, and chaos gremlin. And that wraps it up for today. I'll be making more videos like this soon. Stick around if you want to hear more about the odd, hilarious, and strangely universal things our brains make us do. Subscribe to see them.